A very good afternoon, everyone. So today we are going to talk about another topic, which is called a research paper in optometry. That means how to proceed for a research work or a research paper in optometry. So let me share my screen with all of you. We will wait for a while. Yes. So a research paper in optometry, how to proceed for a research paper in optometry, how to write a good research paper. So this is a very basic question that comes in mind while we are in the undergraduation of the bachelor's in optometry or in the master's of optometry or in our, in PhD papers. So this research paper in optometry will enhance and also shape up a career of inclination if research or the topic of research will go on. So we will see in this presentation. So the learning objectives of today's session, aspects involved in doing the research, why and how to proceed for a research, realistic tips for a research paper, that means the practical tips for a research paper, and ethics for publishing the research paper. So we'll discuss this 4 bullet points, and at the end of the session, we will know that we all have to understand this 4 objectives. Now, what is research? So I'm not going to give you a very conventional definition about research, that what is research and methodology and what is research. So going to a very practical approach in this particular slide, you can see there are 2 pictures which are present. First picture is a ray diagram of an emetropia in which the normal eye, the images fall on the retinal plane, and we will see. And the second one is the something complex structure where there is an image of brain. There is an particularly the labeled structures of our visual pathway, lateral geniculate body, visual cortex, and all. So while seeing these 2 particular diagram, you can see that first diagram is showing that when the image is fall on the retina, it will show you the particular image. So this is the very practical or a very normal thing what anyone can Google it and understand. But this is the complex structure where you can see that the stimulus present on the TV screen will pass from the retina to the the visual pathway, and the visual pathway structures starting from the optic nerve, optic chiasma, lateral geniculate body, visual cortex, and then the image is formed on the brain. So this is a deep knowledge, this is a superficial knowledge. So the superficial knowledge can be googled, can be understood by anyone, but the deep knowledge require research, the deep knowledge require integration about the topic. So this is what a practical approach of research paper, you will understand that how the research is different from the normal materials which are in the books. So these are the basic differences. This is the normal one that everybody knows. This is the complex one. Requires a research activity to understand the process, the mechanism. So second thing is, if we want to proceed for a research, we will have to Google some of the related articles related to that particular topic. So there is a bar, search bar here you can see, which is a Google Scholar. Google does not have research. So Google is having a scholar based Google engine where you can search your particular topic. So this is the very good example, just make you understand that if you want to know that how image is formed on the retina through visual pathway, there are 1710 results in a 0.07 second. So can you imagine, with the blink of a time, you can see there are a number of related research papers that has been published is come to your screen with a 0.07 second. So this is the first process where you need to proceed, that any particular topic you are searching in the Google Scholar are having a different type of articles related to your topic, which you will use as for citation, for literature reviews, for references. So this is the picture of a Google Scholar. Now, when we talk about research, then we will definitely know that very basic concept about the research is something new you are discovering, because the original idea that is evaluating from your mind will go to the literature, and which help the society, help the upcoming generations to learn more about that particular thing. So this particular diagram, or you can say an animation, I have been shown you in this particular slide, that give me a research idea, and a student is asking to their teacher, is it good? Generally, when we are in the undergraduation or the post graduation or in the clinics, a number of times a fellows or a student are asking for a research idea. So don't ask for a research idea, because anything which is borrowing an idea from anyone else will not help you in a scientific research. Sorry. So the original idea that comes in your mind is only gives you an addition to the valuable literature. Now, the similar thing related to the research is an hypothesis. What is hypothesis? Hypothesis is an assumption. Something you are assuming is classified into two groups, null hypothesis and an alternate hypothesis. So in the null hypothesis, or an alternate hypothesis, I am going to give you an example and make you understand. Suppose an ocular measurement which are taken in the condition A, and the ocular measurements which are taken in the condition B. So if the condition A ocular measurements are similar to condition B ocular measurements, that means that it is a null hypothesis. But if the ocular measurements which are taken in condition A is something different from the condition B, that means it is an alternate hypothesis. But there is one problem here, that hypothesis or doing the normal null or alternative hypothesis will not give you a scientific research evaluation result. Why? Because suppose you are going to take a research on prevalence of myopia. So prevalence of myopia in China, prevalence of myopia in Taiwan, prevalence of myopia in Japan, and prevalence of myopia in India. So what is the point of taking the prevalence in different countries? Is it really vary, or is it really very helpful to the literature by taking only the country name or by changing the country name? No, it is not so much valuable. So if you are taking something which is very sure with respect to hypothesis, or you are taking something very different which will add to the literature, which is very new, which was not studied before, that will help you a very good research paper. And the second one is the why and how to proceed for research paper. So any field of study which will lead to a progress of that particular area requires research. For example, in optometry. So optometry, which is in the 90s, is something very different in the 2021. Why? Because there is an artificial intelligence, there is a teleophthalmology or teleoptometry, there is a very, the progress ratio of treating the patient, diagnosing the patient. There is a change from treating and diagnosing the patient from earlier aspects to present scenario. So this is what research is. Research will add on this particular progress to the field or of any particular field. Research will help you more. So to understand this progress, there is an example, Snell's chart, which is universally accepted for recordation of the visual acuity, is not suitable for a specialized population like the population who are having a very diminished vision, that is a low vision patients, or the patients who are pediatric age groups. So for them, there is very difficulty of understanding the Snell's chart or reading or recording the visual acuity. There comes Bailey-Lovie. There comes EDTRS. So this is the evolution. This is the revolutionization. So how you will do the revolution? So Snell's chart will fail to attempt the specialized population. Then there is an invention of Bailey-Lovie or discover of Bailey-Lovie. Then there is an EDTRS. So this is how the progress of visual acuity chart goes on. Similarly, at any particular topic you are doing the research, that progress is needed. Now, how to proceed for a research paper? First of all, you need to take your mind to that particular area where you are very, very interested. So identify the area of interest. Then you need to proceed for a review of literature. That means you need to related search of that particular topic with the help of Google Scholar, PubMed, through the search bar engines. Then find the limitation of that particular study or any kind of research gap or research problem that has not been done on that particular study. Then you have to do the extensive survey of the articles for your research and how the process goes on. Now, if you are interested in contact lens, choose any topic from the contact lenses. If you're in the ortho optics, take any topic from the ortho optics. If you are interested in dispensing, take any topic from the dispensing, and you need to proceed. Now, there is a very classic example that one research paper has published in 1995, reliability of the Snell's chart in British Medical of Journal. So this particular journal was showed their limitation that the most important problem with the design of Snell's chart are the irregular progression of size of letters and the lack of accuracy scoring system, and not for all types of population. So this is the limitation. This is the research gap. This is the research problem by which another study comes in action. That means that another study taken place, development of a clinically feasible logMAR alternative to the Snell's chart, performance of the compact reduced logMAR visual acuity chart in amblyopic children. So this is a second study which is just related with the limitation of the first study. So this is how you will proceed. Now, there is a particular research flow, or you can say there is a step-by-step progression to do the research. First, you need to define the research problem. That means in which particular topic you are interested. Search for that related articles and find out the research gap and research problem. Then second one will be the review of literature. You need to review the concept and theories and also review the previous research findings. Third one is formulating the hypothesis. So if you are accurate that that's going to be that particular hypothesis is going to be proved, then you have to formulate the hypothesis. Then you need to search that which design will help you, what is the kind of sample you are taking. So this will help you further. Then there will be a collection of data where it is an execution round. Then there will be an analyzing of the data, or finally the interpretation of report. So this particular picture or a flow or a chart diagram will give you an idea that how to start a research paper. Now, some realistic tips for the research paper or practical tips for the research paper. Quality of good research includes 6 points, 6 bullet points. First, controlled. Control means whenever you are carrying the research, some other factors comes to influence the outcome. You need to control that. Rigorous. Rigorous means procedures, whatever you are taking, followed, are very relevant, justified, and should be appropriate. Third one is the systematic approach. That means it should be done with the logical sequence. Fourth, valid and verifiable. That means the output should be verified. Empirical, that means conclusion based upon the evidence. And finally, the critical, must use appropriate methods. So if anyone keep this particular 6 bullet points in his or her mind while doing the research activity, then it will give you a good quality research. Now, this is the anatomy and the structure of the research paper, where it starts from abstract, then introduction, then method, then result, then discussion, and then conclusion. Abstract means to understand the PICO, that means problem patient population, intervention or indicator, comparison or outcome. Second one is the introduction, that means which include the main information of your problem statement. Third is the methodology, where it includes the inclusion criteria or an exclusion criteria. Whatever you are taking that will come in the inclusion criteria, which particular population or the method you are excluding or avoiding, which come in under the exclusion criteria. Then result, which you will present and illustrate the obtained finding. Then discussion, which will review the past studies. And then final conclusion, which will provide the final thoughts. Now, ethics for publishing the research paper. There are certain ethics and conditions in which you need to publish a research paper. First one is the authorship. You need to know who is author, who is the primary author, who is the secondary author, who is the corresponding author. Appropriate individual gets credit. That means if you are writing the paper or you yourself have originating that idea, so you are the primary author. If someone is helping you in your research paper, he is the co-author or she is the co-author. So authorship is very important to understand. Then competing interest, that means transparency and objectivity is essential in every scientific research. Then plagiarism, deliberately uses another works without permission and acknowledgement, it will lead to plagiarism or copying, you can say in a normal language, which will not give you a good research paper in a good journal. So most of the time when people are copying certain things and without acknowledging and without permission, that were not considered or that was not published in the peer-reviewed journals. Then simultaneous submission. So if you are submitting the paper in different publications at the same time, will lead to your the violation of the ethics. That should not be done. Then salami slicing. Salami slicing means a one meaningful paper into several papers. That means you are distributing the literature review, result, methodology, and submitting in the different journals. That should not be done. And finally, the predatory journals. That means the fraud publication. So number of times there is a message from very predatory journals to submit your research paper. Do not do that. You should be confirmed about the good peer-reviewed journal with the help of your Scopius index journals. Do not be a prey for the predatory journals. Finally, the take-home message: never ever start a research paper with half work done. Patience and enthusiasm are very important. Self-discipline to arrange the research paper or to arrange the sequence of the research paper or a research work is very important. So these three things you will keep in mind to carry your research will lead to you a good research paper and a published paper in a good peer-reviewed journals. Thank you everyone for your kind listening.